All right, you guys, who wants to learn and talk about flipping as a business? Anybody? Good, you're in the right place. Okay. If you don't, you're just going to have to sit here for a little while because that's what we're going to talk about. All right. So hopefully this is interesting you, and this is where you're headed. Who in here has already flipped or is currently flipping a house? Okay, awesome. And then not done one yet? Not done one yet? Okay, about half these? Perfect. So good news is that if you haven't done one, this is a great time to learn this because you can start off on the right foot. Also, if you've already done one or two or 10, you're going to learn something here that'll help you do those better. Hopefully, you will learn something that will get you to go through faster, more efficient, and at the end of the day, what we're looking for is more profitable. All right, we are in a business. This is a business. Real estate is a business. It can be your hobby, but it's an expensive hobby, and you won't last very long if you treat it like a hobby. So if you want to keep being a hobby investor, treat it like a business so you can keep going, all right? So here's my disclaimer. We are going to talk about numbers, so I have to tell you the numbers I'm going to use are from a real-life flip that just closed yesterday. When Harmon closed, Rochelle's not listening to me. When did Harmon close? Harmon. Thursday. That one just closed on Thursday with one of our deal partners, and we're going to talk about that for real. That doesn't mean that every deal that you do is going to be the same. Does everybody understand? Get a yes? Okay, I get it, Andrew. All right, we're not making any claims or anything like that. Now, to be honest, it's hard. This is hard work, okay? So what are we talking about? You've got to look at real estate as there's a million different paths you could take. I don't want to sit here and list them all because we'd be here all night. Many of the people in here mentioned, I do a couple of different things in real estate. Our business has how many, like 6 or 7 different paths of income for our business. And that's good, but you don't want to start out that way. 6, 7, anybody? Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that. So we're not going to talk about all of them. And if you're brand new, I don't think you should go dive into all of them. You should go find your path, get real deep, get specialized knowledge on that, and run with it. Okay. So again, real talk here. We're going to talk about real business. We're going to talk about real life, and we're going to talk about real profits. Okay. So has anyone experienced in your real life or flipping? I see hands already in the back. A contractor that did not show up. Has that ever happened? Yeah. Guess what? It happens to us today, and we have flipped hundreds of houses. How about a budget that just doesn't make sense? It just starts floating away. Some of this is self-made errors, okay, people? Some of this is on you, right? What did Tom call me? He called me a hyper spender. That's not a good thing, just so you know. Doesn't mean I'm really excited when I spend. How about a timeline? Timeline. Oh. Of these, what do you guys think is the number one way that deals actually go south and you actually lose money? Look at that. I got an A student up front. It's the timeline. Why is it the timeline? Man, those holding costs. Leave it to the lender over here to say holding costs. Interest, right? Interest. And guys, guess what? What's the property tax percentage in South Carolina? 6% of a whole lot, right? And you don't get any deductions or anything. So it's expensive. When that timeline starts slipping, what happens is it leads to more no-show contractors. Why? Because they're gone. They're busy. They're doing something else. And of course, the budget just starts to slip away. All right? So these are the things that we are really trying to avoid, and we want to. And guys, when I talk about avoiding, I'm not just saying like we hope and we pray that these things don't happen. What do we do to make them not happen? How do we keep it on time? Systems. We manage it, right? Who knows this old saying? Who's in the corporate world right now? What is it that you manage? Um, that's it. Measured gets managed. That's the word I was looking for. So what gets measured gets managed. Well, in order to measure your timeline, to know that you've slipped away, you have to start with what? A timeline. Look at this. Man, all kinds of A students. All right, so let's talk about that. We're going to go into that. Most flips, the ones that we talk about it, which I didn't mention. Next Wednesday, we'll be right here at that table back there at 7:30 a.m., Coffee Cash Flow, where we just talk about deals. We talk about doing deals, renting properties, flipping properties. And inevitably, there will be a property that we see on Zillow right now that's half flipped and for sale at a discount. And why is it for sale at a discount? Because the flipper ran out of money. Flipper went over time. Flipper didn't have the proper budget in place. And now they got to get out. Most of those flips, they're not failing because the market changed. Would y'all agree? Yeah. They're failing, and this might hurt. Hopefully you're not in here, but they're failing because of you. They're failing because of the investor. They're failing because of whether scope, timeline, budget, whatever, okay? It's not the, ever-present market, okay? So that's what we're going to budget against. That's what we're going to talk about and add in our systems to your business, okay? Is everybody cool with that? We're good to keep going? All right. The fun thing about this meetup is, if you're brand new here, is we can go back and forth. If y'all have questions, if we get into a slide and you're like, whoa, that just knocked me out of the chair, stop me, ask questions, raise your hand. We could do that. This is back and forth. I feel like it helps more for people. And if you have a question, there's probably someone else around you that has a question. All right. So let's jump into this. I have a little video here, but one interesting fact is we do have a couple of deal partners in this room. We have found that some of the best deal partners are parents. And why do y'all think that is? You've been through the struggle? Still. Michelle said that you smack them around, I guess. She's disciplined. That's it. I think it's because parenting is hard. And so I've got to show y'all this video because this actually popped up for me this morning as I was working through our presentation.
One lady is.
Oh, I just hit a button. Hold on. There it is. Somehow I hit. There you go.
Who wants to have
Can y'all hear?
and be an underpaid Uber driver for your son that wants to go to taekwondo, a sport that he hates? And the other lady just flat out, man, if you got this clip, I'll give you a second for you to find it. It's a fascinating clip. But it is becoming common of people not wanting to have kids, not wanting to have families.
Is becoming an unpaid Uber driver for someone who doesn't want to go to karate and hates you anyway. And it's hard work.
That is a narrative that I'm going to push back on, which is part of the problem, which is that it's the narrative of misery, which has been promoted. And it's not miserable to have children. It's joyful. It's the most incredible love you'll ever experience in your life, but it's also really hard. And I think we have a bunch of pussies, actually. We are producing women and men who are pussies. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. They cannot deal with discomfort. They cannot deal with frustration. They cannot deal with sacrifice or hardship or responsibility. They want it to be easy. Who said raising children was easy? You don't get the good stuff unless you put in the work. And it's the same if you're out in the world. Of course, it's easier to go to a job than it is to stay home with a child because a child demands more of you, but it also gives back more.
Wasn't my word, but she did say that we're raising a bunch of wussies, right? But if you replace the words raising kids with building a business or flipping a house, we've got some experienced people in here that know it is hard work. And it's a lot easier to just, who was it that's staying on the couch? Somebody said they would just get off the couch. There we go. It's a lot easier to stay on the couch or go to a normal job and just wake up every day. It's like, oh yeah, I got to go to my work today. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to get off and I'm going to come home and I'm going to watch TV. That's a lot easier because starting a business, flipping a house takes getting uncomfortable. It takes taking a risk. It takes like going through and learning these things. And then when you go out there and you do it, you're all alone, right? And then there's the responsibility of you're running a business now. Okay. So business is hard. To get to financial freedom, to get to the place where you are standing out above the rest. And I believe everyone in here, God has made you for something. And if you're in here, it's probably something more than what you're doing right now. And so in order to get there, you've got to get in and take action, take uncomfortable action, and do it over and over. Leadership, leading in your family, leading in your business, in your community is also hard, okay? So replace having kids. If you're in here and you were thinking, I need Julian to be in here, right? He's about to get married. He needs to watch that. But it's hard. Running a business is hard, okay? You don't get the reward. You don't get that outsized reward that business owners get unless you jump and take that risk, all right? Take the responsibility for it. All right, so let's talk about flipping as a business, all right? Are there any contractors in here? Who's an actual contractor? We got a couple? Okay. So if you're not a contractor, but you want to flip houses, how many of y'all want to do some of the work? Anybody? Yeah? Yeah, I know you do. I know you like it a little bit. That's okay. That's good. It's fine. Demo's the best. Demo is the best. Well, I can tell you, it's okay to do a little bit of work, a little bit of demo. What you don't want to do is spend too much time, and you certainly probably shouldn't budget yourself to do the work. Make sure you have the budget to pay someone. But if you want to go swing a sledgehammer, that's okay. Here's the difference, is you have a contractor mindset and an investor mindset. And this is something, if you are on the fence and you're not sure what you're doing, you haven't really taken the first step, you need to write this down and understand that in order to build a business out of this, it's the investor mindset. The contractor mindset is waiting for someone to tell them where to go, what to do, waiting for someone else to pay their bill, send them a check, and not really willing to take the responsibility of going and creating their income. Okay, we've got a couple of contractors that are deal partners. I don't see any right here, ones I'm thinking of anyway, that are deal partners, and the reason they're partners with us and they've started investing and flipping houses is because they said, and verbatim, almost all of them say, I'm tired of waiting for my phone to ring to know I'm going to get paid again. I'm tired of chasing down checks from other people that are paying me to do, paint or whatever. And so they say, I want to go create my income. I'll go flip houses and have a business that will generate my income. And so they do that. And when they come to us, this is the first thing I say is you can't be a contractor and do this. I know you're a contractor. I know you can paint, but I don't want you to paint. I know you can install floors, but I don't want you installing floors. If you got people on your team, that's different, okay? So come in with the investor mindset, even if you like demo, all right? So what are you, when you walk out of this room, even if you're thinking, I want to do some of the work, get it out of your brain. Get it out, get it out, get it out. And we learned this the hard way. Michelle and I, when we started flipping houses to buy rental property for our ultimate goal of going full-time in real estate, I was being a contractor. I was going over there, and if she might remember, when we did the tile backsplash, I did it myself, and the next day I went back, and it all peeled off and fell off. Did you know there's a certain type of mortar that you're supposed to use? YouTube didn't specify when you're, I'm just saying, I learned it the hard way. But Michelle, and the reason is Michelle said, hey, because I was there after work and I was there on the weekends and our two young kids, she was dealing with them. And if she would come over and we would do it together, she was also pregnant. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, what a great dad and husband I was. But we're still here. We're good. We're still here. But I was spending all the time there trying to save a buck, but was ruining everything else. And I was not a very good contractor as the tile fell off. All right. So You could snap a picture of this if you want, but successful business owners create the systems that make the profitable actions repeatable and scalable, right? How many flips are we doing right now? Blake, are you in here? 23 flips right now. If I was still trying to do the tile backsplash because I thought I was cheaper, do you think how long would it take me to do 23 of them? Like, that's not scalable, nor repeatable or profitable. I suppose I could have learned how to do it. So that's an investor. Okay, your contractor is just reacting to problems. They're just looking for someone to call and tell me what to do. What's next? Being your own GC or being your own contractor is like being your own lawyer or your own CPA. Yes, you could do it, but if you're spending all your time doing that, you're not out there getting other clients, creating other income. Okay. So ultimately, for a business to be profitable, you actually have to serve others. And this is sometimes comes as a shock to people. You actually have to serve other people. You have to be of benefit to someone else in order for you to generate income. Does everybody understand that? So trying to do everything on your own is not a winning game. Okay. So get out there and be an investor. Right? And so when a contractor sees a problem, they just go and react to it. When a investor sees a problem, they build a system for it. They create a process for it. They look at a way to how could I have seen that coming? Guys, we've done flips. Some of our partners have done flips. We've done deals that were not profitable. We thought they would be. We went through our current system. We went through what we knew at that time, and we came out on the other end, and we only made $842. That's not fun. But an investor looks at that and says, okay, what can we do better? How do we fix that for the next time? A contractor mindset looks at that and says, well, that didn't work. Somebody else call me with another one, and we'll try again. Which one is going to succeed long term? Right. All right. And so execution for an investor means you go back to the system, you reinforce what you've done before in the past, and you iterate, you change it, you update it. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of things, and we talked about systems earlier, and I just want to build this in as you were building your system and for your flipping business. And we're going to get to a couple like tactical things for you to apply to your system, your specific needs, wants, and goals. But these are what those are for, right? So when you're building your system, when you're putting your process in place, it's to remove emotions. So if your system relies on your opinion of how pretty something looks, that might have a flaw. Why is that? Your opinion changes. Yeah. I can tell you your opinion changes, and so does other people's opinions. I could also say that Rochelle's back there, we get a lot of repair addendums. Who loves to see a repair addendum on a flip they're doing? Anybody? It's my favorite thing. Should we do this? Is there a couch, Bishop, that we need a moment. We need a counseling moment. We need a therapy session. Yes. So the system tells us how to deal with repair addendums, which is we're trying to get this thing closed. We are counting dollars. That's how we handle repair addendums. And dollars, if you know your scope and you know your budget, and we'll talk about that in a minute, dollars include holding costs. They include the interest. They include the point, the extension fee, right? If your loan is coming due and you've got another extension that you're going to have to request, if you don't sell to this buyer, and that's going to cost you a whole percent, which at a $300,000 loan is $3,000. yeah, I may not agree that this person needs every single window to open all the way 6 inches or more. But if it costs me less than $3,000, by golly, they're going to open 6 inches or more, right? Now, that's what I mean by eliminating emotion. Because when Rochelle and I, and it's funny because she'll share her emotion and then I share mine with her. And but ultimately what we end up is we're just friends and we're having a good time. But ultimately we end up with does this make financial sense? Is this going to retain our profit in this deal? Or sometimes it's like, yeah, they've gone too far. The market's hotter. We have multiple buyers that want this house. We can let this one go and move to the next. And that would be non-emotional decision. It's not about we don't like their addendum, okay? So creating clarity, getting all the clutter out of your way. Like, get rid of all the different things that are coming in, the noise you hear, the different people in your life that are saying you should do that, you should do this. The only people you should be listening to are the people that you pay for advice, people that pay you, your family, like your family, not your distant second cousin, right? The ones that love you, and they will be at your funeral, and like people are bringing them the flowers, okay? You listen to those folks, and then the people that regulate you and your industry. So yes, you have to listen to the police, you have to listen to the legislators, you have to listen to all those people, right? You don't have to. You don't have to. However, there are consequences. So I know, right? There's too many retired police in this room to be saying stuff like that. So that's what I mean by create clarity. Get everybody else's opinion out of there, right? It doesn't matter what the person across the table's opinion is of the deal. It's your business. It's your deal. Okay? That's what your systems are there to do. And then protect your profit. We talked a little bit about that. And then repeatability. Right? The idea is if you have a system, if you have a process, you can look at it and do it over and over and over again. Okay? So let me show you what that actually looks like. I'm going to show you kind of the system that we use and we go through every time we want to buy a flip. Okay. Y'all cool if we show you that? Some of our partners would see it all the time. It's a great system, great software. So it's obviously not theory. We're going to go through a real deal. This is like legit, the numbers, the actual software that we use, and we're going to go through that here in a second. And so with the system, we start with an ARV, which ARV, after repair value. That's the value of the property after it's been renovated. All right, so this is our flipping system. So we have to start there. We're going to back into our profit. And you guys, it's a little confusing of a calculator formula, but I will say it out loud and you guys can write this down. All right. Take your ARV times 0.92 minus whatever profit you want to make times 0.92. Yep, times 0.92 again, minus your rehab estimate. Your renovation estimate. Your ARV times 0.92 minus whatever profit you want to make times 0.92, subtract your rehab estimate, and that's your max offer. That's what you could pay for the house. Now, we're not going into the math. This isn't like algebra class. If y'all want to go deep into that, and I'll tell you where all the numbers come from, come on Wednesday. I'll see you at 7:30. Well, bring your coffee because it's algebra. Calculus is in there somewhere, I'm sure. But we'll go deep into where all those numbers come from. But that's our profit formula. That's our offer formula, okay? So we have a contingency built in there with our rehab estimate. You always want to make sure you have a little bit of a buffer. And guess what happens if our numbers don't work? You'll buy it? Oh, bye-bye. I was going to say, send it. Okay, Russ, you can have them. Russ has got all that money. He'll take it. If the numbers don't work, we let it go. Okay. Now, I'm supposed to say, make an offer on everything. You can give a number. You can give a number, but don't spend a lot of time. Don't ask your agent to write up a number that's half of what they're asking. You can give them a text or a phone call, or just say, hey, I'm thinking of this range. Let me know if that works. Okay. Right. I got a lot of agents that are nodding their head. Yes. So if your numbers work and you can make that offer, then we can move on, right? There's no attachment. There's no emotion. I can tell you, we've gotten into our worst deals because of some sort of attachment, whether it's like the location, it's right next to the one we already own, or it's, down the street from where we are now. We're doing another flip, so let's go get that one. And you start kind of saying, oh, we'll take a little less profit on that one because it's right next door. You just ask me how that works out at the end, because it never does. All right. So this is the clarity that we're looking for. One of the big things about getting super clear on your numbers this way is that at the end of the day, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end, is when it's time to like list, or it's time to negotiate, it's time to do a repair addendum, it's time to pick a price. You don't have to come up with it again. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to guess. You already have it down. You already have a formula. You've already chosen what you're going to do with that house. And unless the market's gone up or down, you don't have to change it. Okay? Does that make sense? So detailed scope of work, I'm going to show you guys some things that work on that here in a second, but you want to get as detailed as possible. And this is a tip for you guys. When you're looking at a property and you're estimating a budget and you haven't walked it yet, maybe you have seen some pictures, right, Bree? You've seen pictures. So from that point, you can make a scope of work, but it's going to be pretty broad. You're probably not going to have the flooring costs down to the penny, but you should have an estimate that's rounded up to the nearest $1,000, right, using per square foot numbers. But then if you go and you get it under contract and you got 10 days due diligence, what should you do at that point? Anybody? Contractor. Get a bid, get a quote, get a real number, right? So you went from this rounded up estimate, always round up on your estimates, don't round down, round up. Rounded up estimate, then you go and get a bid or a quote. What happens when you own it and you're ready to call that flooring company? I'm using Jonathan as an example. You're ready to call them and say, we're ready for the floors. What do you do then? Do what? That's right. Whatever it is, you put it in the budget. Call them. Say, I'm ready. Can you negotiate? Sure. Can you ask if there's a better price? Can you ask if there's you got any carpet laying around that you need to use? I'm not saying I've done that. Where's Bishop? Oh, Bishop. We've done that. In a rental house, have we ever used remnants? Take 2 remnants and seam them in the middle of the floor? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So you budgeted for $10,000 for floors, but when you get to time to do the floors and there's a sale at Floor and Decor or whatever, it's okay. Yeah, go get the sale, right? Go save some money. You don't have to go spend what you budgeted. That's where you start making more profits. Okay, that's running a business. That's not just saying, all right, contractors, whatever we said, here's a blank check. Right? That's abdicating your business. Okay? So you're always staying on it, you're always working it, but now that Jonathan's back, don't go try and beat up your favorite flooring guy for a discount after he's already given you the investor discount. Right, Jonathan? That's right. Don't go beat him up for more discount. Like, he gives you a good quote, a good price, and he's the best one. You're like, yeah, I'll take that. Good. Go for it. You can always ask if there's, some kind of sale or whatever, but there you go. Do your own demos. Save some money. don't do, like right now, I'll say it, don't do quarter round or trim. Never. Yeah, unless you know how to use that miter saw, the backwards inside quarter. No, don't do it. All right, let me keep going. Define payment structure. This is huge. This is really, really big when you're going out, starting doing these deals. Do this in the beginning, is to let your contractors know or ask them what they prefer. Say, we pay every week, every other week, every 4 weeks, or I got to get a draw from the lender. So this is, I'm using hard money. I'm using Rehab Wallet. They're going to give me a draw, but it takes them 2 days to send the money after I send them pictures. So when you're done, I'll go submit the draw, but it's not 2 days. It's not, that's a bad commercial. It takes me 2 days to get over there to do the pictures, and they send it in 2 hours. Let me fix that. So what really happens is I get a text. It's like, hey, reminder, 2 days ago, you asked for a draw. And so it's my fault, but they'll get you the money in 2 hours. But you would let your contractors know, hey, I'm not going to do a draw as soon as your invoice comes in. I want to get a couple of invoices to do a draw, right? So whatever your system is, whatever your process wants to be, set it up, stick with it, let your contractors and your team know, so everyone's on the same page. All right. Your timeline, we're going to talk about that. But in your scope of work, in your budgeting, you're setting a timeline. And does the timeline change? All the time. Do we want it to change? No. Are we going to just let it change and just say whatever, or willy-nilly? No. We're going to work to get it back. We're going to work, constantly work. We're going to call people. We're going to get 2 or 3 contractors in there. We're going to actively manage the timeline, okay? Because every day, wish I had my wallet, every day is like throwing $100 bill out the door, at least, with your holding costs, all right? And especially for new folks, if you're haven't worked with contractors before, you're brand new, using new agents, new flooring, whatever, everybody's new, get things written down, text, email, or a formal contract agreement. Okay, written down, not necessarily because you think someone's going to lie about it later, but because this is for me. I'm sharing my experience. I don't remember what we said 4 months ago, right? Jonathan knows. I was like, if I want that brown one, like I won't remember that we picked the dark brown out 4 months later for the floor. But if we set it in a text and he sends a picture, he'd be like, all right, yep, this is the one you want. We're done. Okay, so get it written down.
He will literally put in every single room on the wall a checklist of everything he needs to be done in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way he can remember from the contractor space all the time.
Yep.
And he says it seems to go better for him that way.
Yeah. Some people do it that way. I will just say this. If you're going to do it that way, remember that paper is not actively managing anyone except for your own comfort. A lot of people do it for their own comfort of like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to have in here. Your contractors probably aren't going to look at that and say, oh, wait, it's my turn to go over here, right? So you still have to be actively managing that. All right, so let's talk about that deal that I mentioned earlier, Harmon Road, Harmon Street, whatever. How do you think it turned out? These are the real numbers. Acquisition of 145, rehab of 32,800. Held it for 6 months. Sales price was 250. It was 259. That's what I thought. Sorry, misprint. My bad. 259. How do you think it turned out? How much? 75. Who else? Was it a good flip, you think? One that you would partake in, maybe? Okay. So yeah, my gut says that should work. The math should work on that. You guys write down real quick what your gut says. What's the math? How much profit do you think is there? Just write down. Keep it to yourself. And do you think that these numbers got there because it was lucky? Did we just go into it blind? Or was there a system? system. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this is, flipperforce.com, that we do have an affiliate. If you want to use it, they actually will give you a discount and give us a discount, but I didn't put the code up there, but we don't own it or participate in it. But I can tell you for years, we looked for project management software like this. And some of you GCs know there's software that is huge and it does everything under the sun. But we wanted something that was geared for flippers, that was simple to use, simple to read, easy to like jump in, jump out, and manage our expenses, our project, our timeline, and all that. And so this is the one that we have been using for all of our deal partners in the last 3-ish years, maybe. And so it has laid out for us all of our scope of work items. Okay. And I can actually, if y'all want a demo of this, we could send it out, but I can also just print out these items of things that you should have. And so you can have it on like a PDF. If you guys just want to walk into a house and do it, you can. Just let me know, send me or Crystal an email and I'll get that for you. But so we have a labor and a material and a total budget. Okay, this is our budget. This is our scope of work estimation. This is what we have done. You know what? I don't have the screenshot of what we did at the very beginning. This is second step. All right. First step was like a lump sum guesstimation, really, really broad guess of what we think rehab would be. This is done after we've seen the property. Okay. So this is like level 2 rehab estimate. Does that make sense? Number 1 is big, broad guesses. And if we're like, oh yeah, this is something worth going to take a look at. Level 2 is our estimates. Again, you could see, I don't know why that's a 2.9 right there, but oh, that's because it's an actual vanity. But everything here is about a round number. Okay, this is another estimate, but it's a closer, narrow estimate. And oh, here's the other piece. So in here, you can have up to, well, you can put as many bids as you want. So you could get bids, multiple bids for these items. You can actually you can have a whole scope of work and stuff like that. But this is just you click these buttons if you want to dive in. But all right, here's what we did. This is our analysis. This was level 1, where we said, all right, we think it'll sell at $250. We're going to buy it at $144, buying costs, holding costs, selling costs, financing costs, which on this one, I'll tell you right now, holding costs is $450. Is that right? Nope. Do we get it right every time? No. Do we have a system that says we probably should have had it right? Yes. So if we go over on expenses and we're like, well, where did we miss? Why did we spend so much? I would go right here and say holding costs. Well, what dummy put $450 for 6 months, right? And I think it was a typo, like a zero's missing, and that can happen. That's why we have a system. All right, selling costs, financing, fixed costs, repair costs, they're right here. And then we have our profit results. If we sell at $250, $37,650. All right. Now you don't have to shout it out. You shout it out. So it's about $70,000 difference, right? When you do the rough math on that. And here's the trap. If you don't learn anything when you leave here tonight, know this trap. That if you're in here, you're probably an entrepreneur. You're probably a glass half full optimist. And so when you do round numbers and you do big math like that, where does your brain go? Yes. You round up and everything's roses and sunshine. Now, some of us are here with our partners, right? So Michelle's here to bring me down off the roses and sunshine and get you into reality. But if you just do and gloss over and you just look at it, the big numbers, we tend to over-exaggerate on the positive side. And we forget about things like financing costs and selling costs, like $23,000 worth of commissions and closing costs and all that. That stuff adds up, and here we are at 37. Now, is 37,000 anything to shake a stick at? Is that bad? That's pretty good. Would you do this once a month? Yeah, I would too. Do what? No, that's not Armstrong good. Look, I couldn't put that up here. Everybody would be like, oh my God. So here we go. So this is our budget. That was our analysis. This is our budget. And this is our profit report that has everything actually broken down. Sale of the property is $259. Purchase price was actually $142. Buying costs, holding cost was $3,700. So that's where I say I think we missed zero. It should have been $4,500. You see, these are a little bit off, a little bit lower, hopefully. And repair costs a little bit higher. That daggone repair addendum. I'm just kidding. I don't know where that came from.
Can you say what the numbers are? Because I can't see them.
Oh. Yes. Sort of. Which numbers? Who wants to know a number? Purchase, I just said 142. Fixed costs, expenses like financing was $9,300. Selling costs like commissions and stuff was $22,000. Repair costs was $38,000 instead of $32,000. Total expenses $224,359, and we ended up with a gross profit of $35,330. Now, if Matt was in here, I'd make y'all clap for him, but he's not here. So $35,000 in the, what was it? $37,000 was our analysis. That's what we were shooting for. So is that pretty good? Would y'all be okay missing your mark by about $2,000 here and there? 6 months. It was actually 180 days, like almost exactly. I think it was, February was in there. I don't know how many days, but it was close. It was like 6 months. So we ended up with about $35,000 in net profit. Again, with this type of system, like when you start with your system and you budget and you go and get your funding in order and you get your scope in order and you do this over and over, it's not hard to see how you could do one of these a month, one every other month. You guys think that could be possible? Yeah. When it becomes not emotional, where you're not tied to the property, when you're not showing up every day just because you like it and you're like, ooh, look, I'm doing this. Like it gets easier to do more, right? When it becomes just numbers and not just profit, but like numbers on, all right, today's the day for this. The contractor's doing this, right? That becomes a repeatable system. And ultimately, like I said, we ended up with a very happy seller who was so happy to sell that house to us. Very happy investor, a few $1,000s in their pocket in their business. A very happy buyer. They're ecstatic because they want to go fishing at the pond across the street. Even though Rochelle says they're not allowed, it's a private pond, but that's not on us. We told them to ask. We said, you better go ask. We don't own the pond. But everybody wins, right? When you end up following a system like this. So you got tickled on that one. So when you're able to help other people, like again, go back to the beginning, building a business is not about serving yourself. It's about serving other people around you. When you have a happy seller, a happy buyer, happy contractors, there's a ton of contractors in there. Did you do the floors, Jonathan? Oh, yeah. He was probably happy, right? The painters were happy. Everybody's happy when the deals go well like that. Matt was happy. Something's beeping. Is that me or is that you? Oh, okay. All right. So again, this isn't luck, you guys. Like this is a repeatable system. And one thing I do want to just settle everybody in on, I said at the beginning, like $35,000 net profit is not a guarantee. You're not always going to get that. But I can tell you in Columbia, this is where we start. This is the foundation of the businesses, of our flips, of the deal partners. Is we say, hey, if you're going to go into a deal like this, you should be looking at that as being your baseline, like $30,000. And you can go shoot for higher if you want. But if you start that as your base, you have enough room to miss the target and be okay. All right, so let me just run through a couple of things from this. Mortgage interest could be $200 to $500 a day. This is your timeline. You look at 30 days of delay could be $6,000 to $10,000. Okay. That's why this timeline is so important. And who's responsible for the timeline? Let me just put that out there. I'm going to alleviate any of the contractors in here. I'm not putting the blame on the contractors. It's you, it's the investor, it's your job. It's your responsibility to keep that timeline in order. Okay. Do we fail at it sometimes? Yeah. Who do we get mad at? The contractor. I'm just kidding. We blame it on them and tell them, you're making me late. No, I'm just kidding. You've got to fix your system. Whatever has made you late that's where you revisit and you fix your system. Okay. Yeah, it's true. All right. One flip every month. Again, it's not luck. It's your system, documented process, acquisitions, underwriting, contractor management, and then your dispo. Delegation does not mean abdication. Doesn't mean you just let it go without you. Delegation means you're getting help for it. You're managing the people that are helping you, and you trust them. You let them go do what they're good at. Okay. Your CPA should do your taxes. As soon as you buy one property, stop using TurboTax. If you're Boyd are using TurboTax, stop using TurboTax as soon as you get one deal. Again, delegate it. Okay. Accountability, and this is hard for entrepreneurs. This is really hard for you shiny, optimistic people. Accountability is difficult. If you don't have a spouse to hold you there, get a partner, get somebody that's going to tell you, no, you can't let that project sit another day without a painter on it. Okay. Your kids are watching y'all. Those of you that are already parents, they're watching everything you do. They're watching the deals that you pass on or the deals that you do. They're watching you not call that seller, oh man, that hurts. If you driving by a house, our kids now, they'll be like, Dad, that's a good one. Why don't you get that house? I'm like, I don't want to. All right, I'll send them a postcard. They know I got the app. They're like, okay, I'll send them a postcard. So control, this isn't about being overly controlling or, any of that. It's controlling what you can control. You can't control a budget if you don't first do what? Create a budget. You can't control a timeline if you don't first do what? Make a timeline. You can't control your contractors if you don't first do what? Have it in writing, set expectations, communication, right? You can't control your agents if you don't first do what? You never can control an agent. It's a trick question. Trick question. But that's okay. What'd you say, bro?
I understand that timeline is very trigger.
Yep.
Right. I also explain crap happens when dealing with budget. All right. I in previous life, so to speak, did a lot of contracting, and my contracts were 3 tiers. You got it done in like a month early. You have 10% bonus. You get it on time. You bring it on time. And on budget, you get paid. And if you're late, you get a chargeback.
Okay.
You do that? Is that something that's done with contract?
You can. I would say if you're getting one contractor to come in and do floors or just paint the interior of a house or put in a countertop, they're not going to want to talk to you if you're going to start setting up. Yes, if you're going to go the GC route, then you would have some sort of payment plan, and most GCs would give you their payment plan, similar to what we talked about, and you would work that out. Yes. All right. So it's not about hustling. I clicked off of this. Hold on. So I get forgetting sidetracked. All right. So what's your guys' plan? Hopefully you've kind of drilled it in. Are you going to keep reacting to what's coming? Keep guessing? Or are you going to build your business that you can scale? Who wants to build their business? Awesome. I like it. You're in the right room. You're in the right place. All right. So I'm going to tell you right now, and this is something counterintuitive, and maybe in RIA space, right, Dwayne? You guys, you might need a little bit of instruction, but you do not need more information about real estate. You don't need to come to classes that are going to tell you about the info of real estate, the courses, the things online. What you need is the actual instruction, right? Because the information is all over ChatGPT right now, or Google, or YouTube, except don't learn to tile backsplashes on YouTube. Just don't do that. Stay away from that. But the info's out there, you guys. So what is going to help you move to the next step and get out and get uncomfortable and do the deals is going to be the actual active participation, the support of a community like this where you can ask questions and get involved, right? It's not the info, it's the application of it, all right? So that's what you're working for here. That's what you're building, hopefully listening to this. And I'm not going to give you just info. It's actual accountability, actual real life examples, okay? The YouTube channels, the podcasts, the books, the courses, all of that. If you are listening to those things instead of doing a deal, if you're sitting at home and you're watching YouTube instead of checking through Deal Finder data to find a foreclosed home in your neighborhood, then you're not actually in real estate. You're not actually doing the business. You're stalling because you got enough info, okay? It's taking action with what you have, all right? The info's out there. In this day and age, if you're trying to learn everything in real estate before you take a next step, you are way behind, all right? So if you're serious about it, if you're serious about taking your next step, this is what I always offer, and I want you to take me up on it. I have a QR code back there if you want it. Crystal can help you find that, but just schedule a 15-minute call with me, and we'll talk about what could be your next step. Depending wherever you are, first deal, third deal, 30th deal. We can talk about what it looks like here, what we've done, what other contacts that I can help you with, people I can push you towards that might help your business. All right. So I'll make that offer to y'all right now. And I'm going to give you a couple more things for your flipping business, and then we're going to get out of here. Y'all cool with that? All right. Screenshot these, take pictures, because I'm going to run through them. Scope of work, that's your roadmap. We've talked about, these are kind of definitions. We talked a lot about the scope of work. This is what it should be. Clearly defined, detailed enough that the contractor can follow what you're talking about, okay? Maximum efficiency is your schedule. Week by week, day by day, look, hour by hour. Get it down. Get your contractors in there. Tell them when they're going to be there. Get them all in there at the same time. Get your inspectors in there at the same time. Plan for the bad weather, right? If it's going to be raining, don't get a roof. Stay inside, okay? Have your materials on site before they need them. This is what a good roadmap, what a good calendar looks like. You can do that. It's called a Gantt chart, G-A-N-T, maybe 2 T's. The 2 T's? Gantt chart. FlipperForce has it. Excel has it. Google has it. You name it. We have this handout in the back. You might already have it on your sheet or table. But this is like who is what contractor. When do you need an HVAC guy? When do you need a GC? So that handout's in the back. You don't have to take a picture of that. Okay? This is one. All of your contractors should have, you can have an independent contractor agreement, their W-9 form, the scope of work, of course, what you're asking them to do, and lien waivers. Lien waiver is for your rehab wallet. Any of your lenders, they want to know that your contractor is not going to come back and put a lien on your property, meaning you've paid them to satisfaction, and the lender will then pay them or pay you so you can pay them, right? They don't want a lien popping up later because believe it or not, nobody in this room, but there are people out there that don't pay their contractors and they have to put a lien on, okay? It's also good for yourself. It's also good for you to have that, right? You've seen that, yeah. All right. Here's the last bit. Control your job site. If you don't, someone else will. What's the name of that camera? UV? EUFY. That's a cell phone, the wireless camera with the solar panel. It's a cell phone card in it. So you can put it on your projects. We've got one. It's called Rio, I think, REO. I think that's it. Rio Link. That's what it is. Rio Link. That's our camera system. You don't have to have that, but it's really nice. And if we can help you with anything, just let me know. Happy flipping, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the REI Deal Finders podcast. You can find out more and apply to be a part of the REI Deal Finder community at reidealfinders.club.